So we're going to start off with getting the image onto your canvas. I have a pencil here and I'm using the side of it and I'm just rubbing over all of the areas that I see. Now I flipped this piece of paper over, so I am on the back side of the paper. And I'm just getting a nice coverage for everything, not the whole back, but just where you can see that there's lines. Then when we turn it over, those lines will transfer onto the canvas. As we go through this video, I'll kind of give you an idea where to stop the video so you can keep caught up. And this here would be a great time to stop the video, get caught up with shading all of the back, just like I did. Okay, let's turn that right side up and place it on the canvas. I'm checking to make sure I've got it top to bottom, side to side, kind of in the middle. I have a blue ballpoint pen. It's good if you use red or blue or green because you'll be able to see your lines. And see how I flip that up? Every now and then I'm checking to make sure everything is going good under there. I hold one side down whenever I flip it up. That way I don't get it askew and make it so you can't get it back on there right. This would be a great time to stop the video until you have all the areas that you want traced. Take your drawing now and place it to the side. Every now and then I might want to glance at it to see where I'm at if I get a little bit confused when I'm tracing this with the Sharpie. You should have a Sharpie in your kit that you can use, and you're going to trace over all of your lines that you put on there. I think the only lines that I didn't trace were the lines that go through the cactuses that have the little pokey things. Those lines I just waited until I had the cactus all painted and then did them later on. And also just note, you're going to be painting over these black lines, but we do the black lines to start with because when you do paint over them, you'll be able to see through and see those black lines. And then when the paint is all completely dry, then you'll go over it a second time with the black marker. This just gives you a little bit of an advantage because you'll see that I paint over everything for the very first coat. And I can still see those lines, but I don't have to try to get in the little tight places and be really, really precise with that first coat of paint. Just really makes everything a lot easier. Do notice that long piece on top of her head. It's got the longer stems on it. At the base where it comes into her head there, I'm not closing the loop on them. It's like they're all part of hers. Oh, hold on. If you don't have all of that drawn in, get that drawn in and pause this video real quick. Now you can see I'm at my art table and it's already a mess. You might want to put something down so you don't make a mess. I like to start with the sides of my canvas first and then to lay it down on your surface. That's just easier for me. And I've got the sponge brush and that teal color, and I'm just doing a really light coat with that sponge brush. And like I told you earlier, we're painting the whole canvas. We're painting over all of our marks. You can see right there, you can see all of those black marks, all your drawing, right through that paint. So don't worry about that at all. Get that done up and then come on back. You can either let that dry or make that dry. If you have a hair dryer handy, you should probably be getting that just about now. So here's a mistake I made, and I probably made you make it too. I painted over the whites of her eyes. Now you have white paint in your kit, so you can just paint that in if you've made that mistake too. What I'm doing is, it just has one coat on it, so I'm taking a brush and I'm taking some water and I'm getting that paint off of there. It hasn't been on there for very long, so it's fairly easy for me to get that off of there. Now we're gonna go in for a second coat. I'm gonna tell you, I think I would have done this differently. My second coat, I was just about not able to see the black lines under it. So for your second coat, if you want to go around some of the edges, that would be great. I was able to see enough of all of the black lines that it did work. And I probably put too much on this coat. So maybe if you did it a little bit lighter than I did, you'll be just fine. It's all up to you. If you're going to go around, this is a background color, so you'll have to go around everything that you consider background. This is a good time to pause your video and get that all painted. I do apologize for my head being in so much of this video. You might see things clipped pretty close just so I can get my head out of here. So go ahead and take that lightest green and do that frilly plant there that you see. Pause until you have that done. So you can see we skipped forward here a bit. I was cutting my head out of it. The second flower that's on top of her head is that light chartreuse green mixed with just a little bit of the darker green. Then the outer two cactuses are just the darker green by itself. And then the main cactus that I'm doing right now, that's the darker of the two greens with just like a little dollop of the background color, which is turquoise. That way I've got a few different greens so they don't all mix in together and look like one big old plant. After you get this first coat done, you're going to keep putting coats on there until it's the color that you want. I only had to put 2 coats on. So once you get that done, you can start the video back up. Remember, at any time you can get that hairdryer out and make things dry. We're going to get started on that terracotta pot. So grab that orange and we're just going to go right in there. We're going to start underneath the cactus. That would be like where the dirt is, and that'll make a little bit more sense later. But go ahead and get several coats on the terracotta pot. Where the dirt is, only do 1 coat. The terracotta pot, we want nice and thick and orange. We want that dirt area to look a little bit darker, so we're just going to leave that with 1 coat, as I said, and we'll take a pin to it later on and we're going to make it look more like dirt. I promise. Once you have a few coats on there and you like it the way you've got it, then you can start this video back up. Now I'm working on the second coat of the cactuses. I've already got my colors mixed up. This is that lighter green with the darker green. It has more of the lighter green in it. We'll go over all of that. I moved over to the chartreuse green and getting that little wispy one that's on the right of her head, and got that one all done. At this point you should have all the cactuses with as many coats as you want. Now I'm using that medium green that we mixed and I'm making those lines that show the partitions in the cactus, and you can see that I really didn't follow the drawing as much. I just put them in where I wanted them and made sure the curves went in. But this is where your drawing that's right next to it kind of will guide you where you need to put those. I want you to ignore what I'm pointing at right now. I want you to notice that I put some dark little tips on the left hand side of the upper cactus on her head. That was the darkest color green. Now what I was pointing out was the terracotta pot, and I'm reminding you to leave that dirt area with no color on it. We're going to leave it like that so it stays darker, but go ahead and get another coat on your pot if you haven't already. Go ahead and open your pink paint up and paint her lips all that pink color. I'm showing you that the eyes are kind of messed up at this point, but don't worry, you can get them all fixed up later. This is a point where your painting has to be really dry. You will mess up your Sharpie if it's even the littlest bit wet. I'm going to start with the eyes. I want to make sure that we have some personality going here. When you're drawing, I want you to sit the base of your hand on the painting or on the table. This steadies your hand and you won't be nearly as shaky, and you'll be able to control that pen. I want you to watch where your pen is supposed to go, not necessarily the tip of the pen. Now when you're in tight spaces, that sounds a little bit weird, but when you're doing like the circle around the main cactus, watch where you want your pen to be going to, not the tip of your pen. Try it out on a piece of paper if you want, and you might understand what I'm talking about. You can see the eyelids. I completely went over them with Sharpie. I also went over the pupil with the Sharpie. This actually takes a couple of coats, so let it dry, come back to it later, and put on as much as you need. I'm going to put on some music while I'm drawing, and you can go ahead and watch me draw and listen to some music. If I feel like I need to cut in, I'll do so. Remember, before you start these light green plants, I'm not going all the way around them. See, I stopped right there. I'll try to get a little bit closer a little bit so there's no hard line between the bottom of the light yellow and the main green cactus. Okay, for me, this one's going to be a little tricky because I can't see my lines anymore. I have my picture next to me, and I'm kind of going to estimate. So I know where my lines are around the edges. You see me doing the edges there. I'll go ahead and keep watching. I kind of start off with the one that might be on top and then go to the one that's in back. Now I'm going to look at my picture and say, oh, there's probably one here. There's one here, and there's going to be a little one right there and right there. Now, if you look at what I just did and you look at the picture, it's not the same at all, but it still looks like the same type of cactus. Hopefully, you'll be able to see yours through there. If you're a little bit nervous, you can always go in with a pencil first. The first thing I want you to know about this part is I am not pressing very hard at all. I want my line to be thinner than those outside lines. I'm also looking at my picture, and I don't exactly stay to the picture. If I think, oh, mine's a little bit different now, and I want to put this little mark to indicate the sticker parts, then I'm going to put it a different place. I also start making some of the ones that go off into the background those aren't little X's like you saw I was doing. Those are like a V with a line. And that looks a little bit more like the pokey part. It gives it just a little bit more definition, or, you know, something a little bit different. Go ahead and do that to all of those 3 cactuses there. Make it your own. You don't have to put them where I put them. Now we're back to the paint. I've got orange paint, and I'm gonna create a little highlight line. See the little darker green lines? I'm just going to like the right or the left of them. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna do that on everywhere on this particular cactus. Now I'm going into the tips of that cactus and painting them with those orange. I will tell you that later on I go and change that up to pink. Now you've got some choices here. You can do both of the things that I did because you'll be able to see a little bit of the orange underneath the pink, or you can have it just pink or just orange. That's completely up to you. Grab your white paint. We're going to start doing some highlights. I just have that small brush, and I'm putting a little dollop of white in the iris and then in the pupil. Get those on either the left side or the right side. You can put it in the middle of the pupil, but that makes him stare at you, so that's weird. Also, do the same for the lips. And I think I'm gonna be doing something on these eyelids that I change later. See, I'm really trying to decide, and I think I do change it later, but we'll see. Now we're going into the cactuses. You can put these exactly where I'm putting them, or you can put them where you want to. You can go to town, make it look good. If you think that it's something just doesn't look right, take some of your green paint. When that white dries, go over with it. Put the green paint and start over. Don't forget the highlights on that terracotta pot. We'll zoom in here on this cactus, and you can see where I'm putting them. You can put them, really it doesn't matter which side. Make sure you have them curved, and I'm just gonna put a nice little highlight. I mean, this picture is supposed to be for fun, right? Let's do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you're curving it with the line that you're drawing next to. Get some more highlights on there. Don't load that paintbrush up so much. Remember, I messed up the whites of the eyes, so I'm going to go back in with my white paint. I got most of that blue paint off of there, but this just makes them nice and bright. Here's a good example. I get some of that white paint on the Sharpie lines, and I'm not going to worry about it at all. I'll just go back over it when that white paint dries. For that matter, anywhere that you might have gotten some paint on your Sharpie, once that paint's dry, take that Sharpie and go right back over it. I told you we would get back to that dirt. What I did to the dirt, you can do it or you don't have to do it. If you like how it looks, I thought it looked okay, but I did tell you I was going to do something with it, so you can see it 2 different ways. All I'm doing is a bunch of little dots. I'm going to go through the whole thing and give it 1 coat of little dots. Next, I decided to put some lines in. Maybe it's the shadow line with that black Sharpie. You can do that, or if you liked it the way it was, just keep it. I'm going to do some frilly little things here just to make it stand out a little bit. Go ahead and put them where I have them, or put them wherever you want. I just did a little bit, but you could go around and do all kinds of frilly things in your background. Now here's where you need to make that decision. Are you going to put that pink on the tips or not? and see what it looks like here. Depending on how you do it, you can leave a little bit of that orange showing. I don't get too worried about getting on the black. Like I told you before, let that paint dry and you can go back over that with the Sharpie. Showing you that I drew a line so it kind of looks like a table is there. Then I'm going to grab my white paint. With a very dry brush and not very much paint on it, just give it a quick highlight. Now we're moving over to the sides. I have my orange paint. You can do this in any order that you want. Then whenever you see me, I'm like going from one area, I'm measuring that blue area and just eyeballing it. So it's about the width. The blue area is about the width of the sponge brush. When it gets down to the end, you're also going to notice it's not going to be like perfectly even. You'll have one little area that's a little bit shorter blue area usually than the others. Go all the way around the sides of the canvases like this. I'm taking my lightest green paint and I'm just using the very, very tip of my sponge brush, and I'm going next to the edge of all of the orange. My orange isn't dry. You can have your orange dry, but I'm just making sure I have a lot of paint on the tip of it, and then I touch it in there lightly. If I get too much orange on it, I take a paper towel and just wipe my brush off and start again. Take your pink paint or whatever color you've chosen, same thing with the tip of that brush, and just tip right in the middle of that blue area. If you don't like the way it looks on mine, don't do it to yours. I want to thank you for going on this painting ride with me. I hope that you like your painting, and I hope that you learned a lot.